Red Bull reveals the big cost of Sergio Perez's crash, Mercedes admits to making a mistake during Lewis's race, and Kevin gets very lucky to not receive a race ban. Let's get straight into the latest F1 news. Helmut Marko has disclosed that the crash Sergio Perez had during the Monaco Grand Prix incurred a cost of around $2 to $3 million for Red Bull. This estimate does not even account for any potential loss of valuable points. Perez's Monaco Grand Prix weekend endured a disappointing start as he struggled during qualifying, being outpaced by Williams' Logan Sargent and ultimately dropping out in Q1. Unfortunately for Perez, his race did not improve much, as he got caught up in a crash towards the back of the field, effectively ending his Grand Prix almost as soon as it began. The incident occurred when Perez lost a position and fell to P17 after Kevin Magnussen attempted to make a move on the inside. Whether it was a matter of Perez not providing enough space, as Magnussen claims, or Magnussen executing what Perez sees as an unnecessary maneuver, the two cars collided. As a result, the Red Bull car was sent nose first into the Armco barrier at the side of the track. Following the initial impact, Perez's vehicle rebounded and skidded further along the track, ultimately hitting the barrier side-on before crossing over to the other side. The crash left all four corners of Perez's Red Bull RB20 in ruins, with only the driver's safety cell remaining intact. Fortunately, Perez managed to exit the stricken vehicle unaided, his injuries limited to the premature conclusion of his Monaco Grand Prix. However, Red Bull paid a significant price for the incident. Given the current budget cap of $135 million, Marko estimates that this accident alone has cost the team a minimum of $2 to $3 million. Marko voiced his concerns, stating, "This incident is setting us back by about $2 to $3 million, which is a significant disadvantage considering the budget cap." Speaking to Sky Deutschland, he also expressed surprise at how swiftly the stewards reached the conclusion that no further action was necessary, considering the dangerous nature of the crash. "The decisions made by the stewards are not something we can readily influence. It was fortunate that everything ended well, but it was undoubtedly a critical situation," Marko added. Ultimately, he recognized the need to move on from the incident, concluding, "It's a shame, but we have to put it behind us." Christian Horner, the team principal, expressed his relief that Perez emerged from the major crash unharmed. Speaking to the media, including PlanetF1.com, Horner said, "It was an extremely distressing accident, and at that moment, your heart is in your mouth, and you immediately focus on the driver's safety. Thankfully, cars can be repaired, but the safety features such as the structure and the halo did their job admirably. The most important thing is that Checo was able to walk away from what appeared to be a very severe incident without injury." Toto Wolff acknowledges that there was a breakdown in communication from the Mercedes pit wall to Lewis Hamilton, as they neglected to inform him about the critical nature of his outlap in Monaco. During the Monaco Grand Prix, which lacked overtaking opportunities, Hamilton found himself in 7th place at the start. In an attempt to gain at least one position, he decided to make an in-race pit stop, joining a small group of drivers who did the same. However, things did not go as planned for Mercedes. Hamilton re-emerged on track in 7th place, only for Max Verstappen, the driver they were hoping to undercut, to pit on the very next lap. Unlike Hamilton, Verstappen pushed hard during his in-lap, which allowed him to maintain his lead ahead of the Mercedes driver when he exited the pit lane. Hamilton was clearly displeased and voiced his frustration over the radio, questioning why the team failed to inform him about the critical nature of his outlap. Toto Wolff accepts responsibility for the miscommunication on the part of Mercedes. He stated that there was initially a miscommunication among the pit wall team, leading to the wrong message being relayed to Hamilton. Instead of emphasizing the criticality of the outlap in order to attempt an undercut, there was apparently a debate within the team about whether any outlap duration would be sufficient for the new tire. In summary, the message received by Hamilton was at best confusing and quite possibly incorrect. Wolff concedes that it should have been made clear to Hamilton that the outlap was crucial, with the team's concern centered around potentially damaging the tires if they were pushed too hard in just one lap. Ultimately, Wolff acknowledges that Mercedes was at fault for providing Hamilton with the wrong information. Wolff explains that the team's original plan was to close the gap to Verstappen and then attempt an undercut. However, due to the team's misguided messaging, their strategy fell apart. In addition to the incident under discussion, Hamilton also expressed dissatisfaction with his performance during Saturday's qualifying session. Surprisingly, he admitted to being taken aback by George Russell, a former Williams driver now with Mercedes, outperforming him. Hamilton adds that he does not anticipate consistently out-qualifying Russell this year, but he emphasizes the need to continue pushing and performing well in races. When asked about the state of the relationship between Mercedes and Hamilton in light of his decision to leave for Ferrari, Wolff dismisses any notions of favoritism within the team. He asserts that Mercedes' sole objective is to maximize their results, and they strive to maintain a strong and balanced relationship with their drivers. Tensions can arise when drivers desire the best outcomes for themselves and the team, especially when things are not going their way. Nonetheless, the team remains fully committed to providing both drivers with the best possible cars, strategies, and support. If you are enjoying the video so far, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I have a big F1 merch giveaway I'll be doing when we get to 1,000, so be sure to be subbed. Lando Norris expressed his dissatisfaction with the way the FIA rulebook allowed Carlos Sainz to regain his P3 position in Monaco. McLaren team boss Andrea Stella even nicknamed Sainz as Lucky Carlos due to his fortunate sequence of events, including escaping punishment for damaging Oscar Piastri's car. During the Monaco GP, Sainz and Piastri collided at the first corner while battling for P2. Sainz suffered a puncture and came to a stop, which initially promoted Norris to P3. However, the race was then interrupted by a massive crash involving Sergio Perez and the two Haas cars. As per the rules, the restart order was determined by the last point, where all remaining cars had their positions established, which happened to be the safety car 2-line. Consequently, Sainz was able to fit a set of hard tires and resume the race in P3, where he ultimately finished. This turn of events left Norris feeling frustrated and believing it was unfair. He emphasized that even though mistakes happen, the fact that the red flag and specific conditions allowed Sainz to undo his error and pit freely was unjust. In addition to Norris's discontent, McLaren boss Stella pointed out another instance involving Sainz. He was puzzled by the fact that Sainz escaped punishment from the stewards for the incident with Piastri and an investigation for impeding during qualifying, which also involved Alex Albon. Stella drew a comparison to a previous race in Imola, where Piastri received a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Kevin Magnussen. Despite the controversy, Stella acknowledged that the FIA followed the appropriate procedure when determining the restart order. He also mentioned that it aligned with previous precedents, although he disagreed with using mini-sectors to decide the order. Stella believed Sainz was fortunate due to the circumstances, particularly because Zhou had not crossed the sector time at the moment the race was suspended. Referring to Sainz as Lucky Carlos, Stella noted that his podium finish was a result of the situation and leniency from the stewards. The red flag period eliminated the mandatory in-race pit stop requirement, enabling the top 5 drivers to finish the race on the same set of tires. Charles Leclerc, driving for Ferrari, emerged as the victor. Norris admitted that there was not much excitement during the race, especially with the red flag interruption, but he still congratulated his teammate Piastri on achieving his first F1 podium. Norris expressed satisfaction with a 4th-place finish and acknowledged the importance of preserving tire condition and avoiding mistakes in Monaco. There were fleeting opportunities for Norris to pit, as George Russell from Mercedes fell over 20 seconds behind in P5. However, the team decided it wasn't worth the risk to make a pit stop since track position is crucial in Monaco. Norris described it as a delicate situation, where the possibility of gaining an advantage through a pit stop had to be weighed against the potential risks and regrets. He acknowledged the overall strong performance of the car and the team's recent consistent competitiveness. After the Monaco GP, Norris stands at P3 in the Drivers' Championship, trailing 56 points behind the current leader, Max Verstappen. David Coulthard, a 13-time race winner, argues that Kevin Magnussen was fortunate to escape a race ban because the major collision in Monaco involving Magnussen, Sergio Perez, and Nico Hülkenberg transpired on the first lap. During the opening lap of the Monaco GP, Perez's Red Bull was severely damaged when Magnussen's Haas made contact with it, just as they were ascending the hill out of Saint-Devote. Hülkenberg, Magnussen's teammate at Haas, also got caught up in the incident and was eliminated, resulting in a triple did not finish DNF. Given that Magnussen is dangerously close to incurring a 1-race ban due to his penalty points, he anxiously awaited the stewards' decision. Ultimately, they concluded that no further action was necessary. Considering the circumstances, Coulthard suggests that Magnussen should have backed out of the maneuver, but instead he triggered the collision by persisting with his position. While analyzing the incident on Channel 4, Coulthard expressed his viewpoint, stating, "I think, given that Kevin Magnussen has accumulated a number of penalty points, there's no harm in trying to edge forward. However, at this point, he should have been retreating because the situation was clearly not favorable." Coulthard explains further. Once the contact was made, it resulted in a massive crash at the start of the Grand Prix, especially since the car was heavy with fuel. Perez did look in the mirror, but by the time he turned his attention back to the front, the impact had already occurred. Although the stewards classified it as a racing incident, Coulthard firmly believes that the accident happened because Magnussen decided not to back off, and the likelihood of overtaking Perez up the hill and around the exterior on a non-straight section was practically non-existent. When asked if the fact that the collision took place on lap 1 influenced the steward's decision of no further action, Coulthard responded with certainty, stating that had it happened on any other lap during the Monaco Grand Prix, Magnussen would be taking a little break from Formula 1. Hence, Coulthard believes the timing of the incident played a pivotal role in the steward's ruling that it was a racing incident. When asked if this was the reason behind the decision, Coulthard simply replied, "Yeah, first lap. If it had occurred at any other point in the Grand Prix, I believe Magnussen would be taking a little break from Formula 1. Magnussen is currently in a battle to secure his future with Haas, as the team is already in need of one new driver for the 2025 F1 season, with Hülkenberg set to join Sauber. Sergio Perez is on the verge of securing a contract extension with the Red Bull team, despite experiencing another challenging weekend at the Monaco Grand Prix in Formula 1. The Mexican driver encountered difficulties throughout the event in Monte Carlo, qualifying in the 18th position. However, due to the exclusion of the Haas cars, he managed to move up 2 places on the grid. Unfortunately, his race came to an abrupt end on the first lap when he collided with Kevin Magnussen, resulting in a high-speed accident that sent him crashing into the barriers while ascending from Stade de Vote. Following his failure to score any points in Monaco, coupled with a troubled 8th-place finish at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, some people began questioning whether Red Bull should seek a different teammate for Max Verstappen next year. Nevertheless, sources close to the matter reveal that the team firmly believes Perez is currently the best candidate available to work alongside the reigning world champion. Reports suggest that Red Bull is not considering promoting Yuki Tsunoda from RB, and Carlos Sainz has been told he is not in the running for the position. Therefore, all signs indicate that the team is committed to retaining Perez as part of their lineup. While there are instances where Perez struggles to match Verstappen's pace, he does contribute significantly during those race weekends when he can extract the best performance from his car. Furthermore, he does not cause any political issues within the team and ensures a harmonious working environment for his teammate. Christian Horner, reflecting on Perez's difficult weekend in Monaco, acknowledged the need to assist the Mexican driver in improving his performance. Horner emphasized the importance of having both cars scoring points, as the threat posed by Ferrari and McLaren in both championships should not be disregarded. Despite the recent setbacks, Horner remains optimistic about Perez's abilities and believes that returning to a position of confidence should be the team's primary focus. When asked if Perez's recent struggles might impact the timing of Red Bull's decision for next year, Horner dismissed the notion, stating that their timing for the decision remains unchanged and will be made at a later date. Although the precise timing of the announcement for a new deal remains uncertain, Red Bull's Motorsport advisor, Helmut Marko, has suggested that the internal arrangements should be finalized by the Spanish Grand Prix. Marko expressed that they should have a clear understanding of their plans by then. When directly questioned about Perez's chances of securing the seat, Marko stated that he is in a favorable position, but refrained from labeling it as pole position. Once Perez's future is confirmed, it will have implications for the broader driver market, effectively notifying Sainz that there is no point in waiting any longer for a potential seat at Red Bull. Consequently, Sainz will be left with 2 clear options: a drive with Sauber that can continue into the Audi era, or a switch to Williams. Choosing between these 2 teams is not an easy decision, as they both offer advantages and disadvantages. In terms of short-term competitiveness, Williams appears to be the more promising choice, and it could also provide Sainz with flexibility if he wishes to keep himself available for opportunities in 2026. On the other hand, a deal with Sauber would bring the prestige of driving for a works team and the opportunity to benefit from Audi's significant investment in its F1 project. Thanks for watching the video. Watch this video next to get the latest F1 news.